Welcome back everyone to my low-level playthrough of Chrono Trigger on the Wii Virtual Console. Last episode we got our gate key back from Azala, the leader of the lizards, or the reptiles. And now we're going to head back to the present, to 1000 AD, to give the dreamstone that we won from Aelia to Melchoir so that he can repair the Masamune. And then once we get that Masamune repaired, we will give it to Frog and see if he'll be willing to go fight Magus. Magus is the wizard in 600 AD who's waging a war against humans and who we were told apparently created Magus. So obviously going to want to stop him. Frog has his own personal vendetta against Magus that we'll learn about later on in this episode. There we go, Medina Village. And depending on who you have in your party, Luca or Robo will help Melchoir fix the Masamune. Luca will take priority, so if you have Luca and Robo in your party, then it'll default to Luca. But we'll see about Robo here right now. Found some dreamstone in the Masamune. We'll learn all about Melchoir's connection with the Masamune and how it was created and all that stuff much later in the game. But everything ties together. And while Robo and Melchoir repair the Masamune, Chrono and Marley are just going to run around here and just I guess their cardio in for the day. Get their 10,000 steps with their Fitbit. I used to have a Fitbit. I had some friends who had they had a little group, and we had a weekly thing, like whoever had the most steps at the end of the week, would like win. And I was like in this group, and I'd run, so I'd always end up winning every single week. That ended up kicking me out of the group. So, which is weird because like they were the ones who invited me, and here's my one friend and her boyfriend and his family. And they were like, "You need to join us in this little group thing that we do." I'm like, "Okay." I end up buying a Fitbit, and didn't work out. But what did work was Melchoir's repairs to the Masamune. This is a nice shiny sword. Now we just have to deliver it to Frog. Just like Marley said there. And before we go see Frog though, we want to buy a lot of stuff. We're going to need a lot of mid-tonics. We're going to need some heals. Max out my mid-tonics. Buy a bunch of heals. Buy some revives. We have a lot to accomplish in the castle coming up. In Magus' castle. We'll have 4 bosses in total, and a bunch of enemies. They say there's 100 fiends in the castle. That's what we're told when we enter. Ozzy is there, and he's like, "Can you get through the 100 fiends in this castle?" Yeah, we will. We'll be avoiding most of them, but there are some battles that you can't run from. So we'll have Frog be absorbing the experience. Let's go pick Frog up. Once we get Frog, we're gonna, before we head to fight Magus though, we want to power Frog up though by getting him his magic. So we'll go back to Specchio. Remember, like they said, whenever we get a new character, go to Specchio to have them learn magic. And magic is always the 3rd technique in a character's arsenal. So it'll unlock the 1st and 2nd technique for characters as well. So Froggy already had that slurp learned when we first got him in the party. And then he'll learn a new ability, Slurp Cut. And then Like I said, then he'll get his first spell, Water. And Specchio, because Specchio does not grant experience, you can also fight Specchio again to learn some duel techniques. Frog can learn a duel technique with Chrono, Marley, and Robo. He'll eventually, all your main characters can learn 3 duel techniques with every other character, but they have to learn a single technique. Both of them have to have a certain single technique learned before they can learn the double technique. And Frog won't have the technique that he learns to get a technique with a dual tech with Luca yet. So we don't have to worry about having Frog and Luca in the same party to fight Specchio. So we're going to learn about Frog's past. Frog is not this knight Cyrus. Cyrus was basically the best knight in the kingdom. We're going to learn that basically Glenn is kind of like his squire. Oh, I just ruined his name. But Frog, yeah, Frog is, his real name is Glenn. Let's see that right here. And there's Mr. Glenn right there. So they're going to go get the hero medal here off of the Frog King. So you're getting a little fight with some Naggettis there. And for some reason in this fight, Cyrus is here, but Glenn isn't. It's some other guy and some other lady. Remember, Glenn has the green hair. And he gets the hero medallion. Remember the, Cyrus, remember he ended up getting the Masamune. Because when we got the Masamune from Masamune, they were like, only Cyrus made it this far. So Cyrus, I guess, was the original owner of the Masamune. But even with the Masamune, he was not enough to defeat Magus. So we had like a 2-on-2 here, Magus and Ozzy versus Cyrus and Glenn. And unfortunately, Cyrus was killed. And this is where Glenn gets turned into Frog. So rather than finish him off, Ozzy's like, well, let's have some fun with the guy. So Magus polymorphs him into the Frog warrior. So this is where Frog has his vendetta with Magus, and Magus basically killed Frog's best friend, Cyrus. 10 years ago. We'll learn more about Cyrus much later in the game. There's a side quest. Every character at the end of the game has a side quest. And that kind of gives some more backstory on them. Gets them like a really good weapon. For Frog, it basically pounds with the Masamune to make it his best sword. Yeah, it's weird. The first time I was playing through the game, you know, you get Frog, the Masamune that makes such a big deal out of his sword. And, then you come later on, you get other swords that are better than it. And you're like, wait a minute, this is like the sacred Masamune sword, what's going on? But eventually after he gets a power up, if you complete Frog's side quest, it does become his most powerful weapon. Although in a New Game Plus, you want to keep his penultimate weapon, I think there's the Rune Sword, because the Masamune is a special item, and you obviously only get it through story sequences. Obviously, they don't let you carry that over to the New Game Plus. So you want to keep his second best sword. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about Cyrus and Glenn growing up. So Glenn is, according to Cyrus, a little bit of a marshmallow. Glenn ain't very, tough. Which is why he does not decide to become a knight even though according to Cyrus here, Glenn is a better swordsman than Cyrus. So he encourages him, why don't you join too? That's when he says he just doesn't have it in him to... He doesn't have a violent nature to him. But as Frog gets pushed eventually too far. And that is basically the start of their journey. And here we know if you haven't putting everything together, Glenn gets hit. He wakes up as Frog, bound on the... We got that chest with the magma hand. It's open for some reason here. But yeah, the hero meta returns, and I guess Frog decides, like I said, to take up the mantle of Cyrus, his friend who passed. Now later on in the game, you'll have a choice to. You can eventually. Frog will never become a human in the game, but depending on if you do a certain choice in the game, Frog can become a human in the ending. You get to see a glimpse of him, and then in a second ending, you'll get to see him more pronounced as a person. It's a cool little scene. Some of the power of the Masamune and slices this cave right open. And that, like I said, will take us to Magus's lair. But if we went to Magus's lair right now, we wouldn't stand a chance. Mainly because we need to get Frog his magic and his technique. And the dual techniques will also help during the battles that we're going to fight in. So let's retreat out of the way. And let's take Frog to the end of time. Frog's a good candidate right now to get any power towers we get to give it to him. I only have one right now. I'll end up giving it to him. I'm gonna send up some gear here. Hero metal tends to be the... Since Frog is going to be absorbing most of the experience, we're going to probably put the best weapon and equipment on him, like the Mesomail and the Rock Helm. Although sometimes we will sort the equipment out, switch it around a little bit, depending on the boss or who we're going to be fighting. Sell some stuff, because like I said, all these old weapons we'll never need. You have to keep at least some armor around, because you can't never have any armor on you. So you gotta keep some lower grade armors when like we're switching around. And like give Chrono a different armor to get the Mesomail off him to give the Frog. So you never want to sell all your armor, because then you'll never be able to like switch armor around from other characters. You always gotta have at least a spare piece of armor in the background to shuffle it around. And weapons ain't much of a problem though, because you know, weapons are a single character. No character shares the same weapon, so you'll never have to worry about switching weapons around. Alright, let's heal ourselves up here. Let me go get this little bag that Patrick Swayze is getting into. So, being a frog, he's gonna get water. So we have two frogs. Sad Robo Captain's magic. But remember, his lasers function as shadow magic. It's important to know elements for certain characters, including one of the bosses that we're going to be fighting. Sometimes they'll be weak against, they'll have like barrier shifts. They'll be like weak against water, or weak against shadow, weak against lightning. And obviously at those times you'll want to hit the enemy with magic that it is weak against to do the most damage. Oh, it's like I said, his lasers function as shadow damage, but he'll get a bomb technique that works as fire damage, and then he'll get the shock technique that works as lightning damage. So he covers quite a most of the elements, 3/4 of the elements. He just doesn't get water. They have an optional character that ends up having that can cover all the magics. Like I said, that's an optional character. We will not be picking up in this low level run. Now we're going to switch Marley into our party so that we can get a dual technique with her and Frog. Ice water. Like I said, unfortunately Frog doesn't have the technique that he needs to combine with Luca, so we don't have to worry about bringing Luca into the fight. Uh-oh. Had to go get the bag again. Little Patrick Swayze. What a silly little boy. Sneaking up on me and taking a bag that he's not supposed to get into. Got my little recycling bag here that I throw stuff in, you know, as I finish off a page in my notes. Or something, I just crumble it up, put it in the bag. And maybe Patrick Swayze's been watching too much Marty Mouse House in the School of Business, and Marty liked to collect paper. Most of the time, the male bats don't really like to collect things. It tends to be more the female bats, like for nest building. They will go around and get things to build a little nest. Yeah, we got some techniques there with Frog. And of course, we're going to have to keep Marley in our party, being the low-level girl. We don't want her to be gaining experience. Surprisingly, Frog is lower level than Robo and Luca. Well, we'll be gaining some levels with Frog, since he'll be absorbing a lot of the experience in Magus' castle. Not only from the bosses, but from the few encounters that you can't run away from. There's a few encounters that you can't run away from that are really tough to avoid, so this is, I remember when I was going through the test run of this, it was, this could be a very difficult place. A lot of resetting. We'll be going in and out at the beginning. Luckily, the first two bosses are right at the front of the castle, so we'll be able to go in there, defeat one, save. It's not like we have to face two of them in a row and do it all in one save. I'm just setting up equipment here for the survivability of the characters. And then we're going to head back to that magic cave. Make a save out there. And then we'll head to Magus' lair in the next episode. We'll be spending quite a few episodes in there. Like I said, it's a very large castle. So, of course, it will end with Magus, who's one of the toughest bosses in this playthrough. Take some precise timing and a lot of reviving. That's why once you have your, once you have your mid-tonics maxed out, try to buy as many revives as possible. I have way too many, but that's okay. Better to have too many than too few. This isn't like Dragon Quest where you really gotta worry about your inventory. You'll never run out of inventory space here. But you will run out of time, so we're running out of time here, so I'm going to end the episode here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care, have a good one, thanks for following along. Bye!